Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live on AmericanFreedomRadio.com 5 days a week. That's Monday through Friday in the United States from 3 till 5 Pacific, 5 till 7 Central, 6 till 8 Eastern, and across the Atlantic is 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and in New Zealand 10 a.m. through midday. There's a lot of time zones I've got to keep in my head in order to do this show, isn't it? Yeah. And of course at the end of this month, when daylight savings kicks in for, I think it'll either kick in for New Zealand first, I think, we'll be going to 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. and then daylight savings kicks in again for the United States on November the 4th. And then it will be midday till 2 p.m., which will be good because I'll be able to stay up late editing, catching up on huge quantities of scumbaggery that I need to expose, but I haven't been able to because I have to get up earlier enough to do the show. All right, now, today, we have a very special show for you and a very special guest. His name's Stu Webb, a victim, but also a fighter of the Bush crime family and the very nasty, incredibly satanic, cruel, and, practically alien to all humankind, Illuminati. Stu, welcome to the program. Stu, were you there? I can't hear you. You must have your mic muted or something.
I apologize. I did have. Benny, I want to thank you for having me. It's my honor to be on with you. And I did bring a co-guest with me. If you check your number, a 952 extension there.
Oh, okay.
We have a Dr. Preston James also that's a columnist for Veterans Today.
Okie
and
dokie.
An expert, a psychologist and an expert on the Illuminati as well. And he's done a massive series of stories on Veterans Today, so I thought we'd bring him on for the first hour. He's happy to be on with us for at least an hour today.
Okay. Is he on phone or on Skype?
He's on phone there on the 952 exchange. Do you see it?
Oh, so he's already called into the call-in line, is he?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's just see if I can get that caller line up here.
He's an expert in this as well, and since we're going to be talking about the Illuminati, I thought it would be wise to bring him on. You admit?
Okay, let's get that sorted. Where's my conference room? There it is. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. I was kind of in a bit of a rush this morning.
Well, you find him. I'm going to get a little bit more light in here.
There we go. And he's unmuted. Okay, Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right. What was your name again?
Yes, Preston James.
Preston James. All right. And how did you find out about the Illuminati?
Oh, I suppose it goes back many years ago to clients I had that came in that were involved in the business that had told me of they didn't call them the Illuminati, they called them occult-linked organizations, and said it was a worldwide network related to the money changers, and that they had weird religious beliefs, and many of them did weird seances and human sacrifice and things. Of course, the first time you hear that, it's very incredulous. It's hard to process. But in the business that I was in, it wasn't my job to criticize people or try to challenge their stories. It's just to help them deal with the problems they have. But when you start hearing it a number of times over the years, and then you work with individuals that are harmed by these people, then after a while it starts sinking in. You find out that there is such an organization, that it has an invisible part to it, which is the secret occult organizations that are worldwide, these what they call the Masons, the Super Masons, the OTO. Most of the Masons know nothing, but when they get to the higher levels, they bring them into blood sacrifice groups like the OTO and other groups that are all related to various high-level organizations. And, of course, anybody that really studies this finds out that you have the secret part, and then you have the visible part. And the visible part really is what we have in Congress in the United States today. We have a gangster government that Congress has been compromised, taken over, and congressmen are blackmailed and what I called re-socialized to be under the control of these people. So it's much easier to see the handiwork of these people than it actually is to study them in person. Now, of course, the the first person to really tangle with him and expose him publicly, of course, as you know, is Stu Webb, and he paid a tremendous price for it. He's a miracle. In fact, he's still alive, and now they're leaving him alone. But he's the only person that ever tangled with him directly and survived that I know of. And, of course, he verified a lot of the things that I had been told I didn't know about. But Stu lived it and survived and has written about it and talked about it. So he's a real important witness to how this all started in this country and how they've, taken over government. And I'd really like to hear, Stu, how you figured out the difference between the secret part of them that's not easily seen and the visible part that's seen in government.
Are you ready to answer that? You do realize you're muted again?
I apologize. I'm intentionally muting.
No, but Stu, you know these two parts. There's two faces. They got the secret side that they hide in secret in their castles and do all their rituals, human sacrifice and things, and then there's the visible handiwork that we see with the Iran-Contra, the drug dealing, Congress that's completely compromised, the gangster government. But how did you ever find out the difference between the two? It's easy to see corruption when you're a product of it, when they're attacking every day. But how did you figure out what was behind it?
Well,
the secret side.
Well, it was kind of a strange story, but when I was talking to an Illuminati Knights Templar type, down in San Antonio back in 1994, I was doing some speeches down there, and there was someone that I'd met when I was held as a political prisoner, and he introduced me, this high-level person involved in all kinds of notorious stuff for Daddy Bush. And I was sitting there talking to him and told him about this story in 1984, about 3 weeks before my daughter was born, and which was Leonard Bellman's daughter that I was married to. And that we had the goat-headed demon in our bedroom, and I cast him out in the name of Jesus and by the blood of Jesus Christ. And the guy freaked out, and he had said, his words were, "You saw the goat, and you're still alive to talk about it?" And he asked me how it happened. Well, I told him. He clammed up. But that's when I first discovered that there was something wrong with these people. And then it led to, investigations. And by 1995, I had the chance to meet someone else out in Colorado that was a little bit aware, a shadow government type that was more or less retired at the time, and he was kind of informed. And as he said, we're standing on top of a mountain in Colorado where he lives, and he made the statement, when I asked him about this, whether they were doing these satanic worships, of which I was told in 1994, and he says, "I can't talk about it." I said, "Why not?" He said, "They can hear us." And I said, "What do you mean they can hear us?" He said, "They're all around us. You can't see them." And he says, "They run back and tattletale." I said, "Okay, I understand." In other words, demons. He says, "Yes." So this is kind of where it led me. I kept digging and so forth. And then I found out that they were doing it, that I had heard downtown Denver, and then I heard this place called the Kimball Castle out in Sedalia. At one time, they were doing it there. It wasn't. It turned out to be the old Nabari downtown, Denver, Colorado. It's an old whorehouse / casino that's a monument that Leonard Bellman owns. And it's what they classify as the Museum of Western Art, of which nobody's even allowed to go in the place. And it's across from the Brown Palace Hotel, which is quite a famous hotel that they've done a lot of business out of over the years. But there's tunnels running underneath out of the ship's tavern, where the door is actually unlocked on the night of the June the 21st, because they do it between the witching hour of 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. On June the 21st, and December the 22nd from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. or 12 o'clock until 3 a.m. Denver time. And so this year, I put the story up on Veterans Today, and someone inside intelligence put it into the Amber Alert system that they were going to be kidnapping an infant from a hospital, because the younger the better the sacrifice, the more power they derive supposedly from Satan. So they were going to be doing the sacrifice and intentionally kidnap a kid. Well, the Amber Alert system was lit up so heavy that every cop had been notified, of course, and all the hospitals, and they were all secure. So no child was kidnapped. Well, an ironic twist happened. And I had said in the story that I posted on Veterans Today on the 9th of June that it would occur sometime, the kidnapping between the 17th and the 21st, the night of the 20th. And on the 17th, the police busted a guy, a black man, wanted out of Dallas, Texas, in Oklahoma City, outside Oklahoma City, and they busted him for trying to kidnap a child that was just a little bit younger, 2 years of age. So they tried to get a 2-year-old or younger, preferably an infant, for these two sacrifices in Denver. And they actually busted him, grabbed him. He's holding a knife to the kid's neck. And the cops are asking why he's doing this. And he says, I'm kidnapping it for the Illuminati sacrifice, for the Illuminati. And the police actually said that the Illuminati is a satanic occult that does human sacrifices that they had learned on June the 21st of each year. So they actually didn't get to perform, what I understand. There were people in the intelligence world that were all lit up on this, did me a favor. People staked the place out. Nobody saw any infants or any kids being taken in there unless they were able to get them in some way they couldn't see it. So I think we actually, Vinny, after reporting on this since 2001 in December, this was the first time we actually got them caught, should we say, and I believe that they did not actually perform their sacrifice on June the 21st. Well, this screws up their time frame. This screws up things because the devil comes up to tell them their future and things, and these, as a favor, you're to start wars in this period of time, or you're not to start a war. So I believe that there may have been some things that occurred that if you look at the bigger picture right now and the big lies by Obama and Kerry and how they have been pushing for this World War III with Syria and to cause World War III, and now they're going after Iran, and that didn't work. So now we're back to get the guns because the American people are mad. You can see the pattern here with the shooting yesterday and so forth. And there's a pattern here where you can see that, that they're quite nervous because as Dr. Preston James has explained in his series of stories, and he's done some really masterpieces on this, that they're getting ready to go down. And the bankers, these are the Illuminati. The banks are ready to collapse. They've screwed everybody financially. They've stolen, wrote $100 trillion worth of mortgages that they derivatized to $5 quadrillion. And the banks are sitting there with 8 out of 10 of their assets at Bank of America, as an example, of those bad mortgages that they were creating out of thin air. They had no houses to back them. Some of them duplicated many times over. And they're not classified as non-performing assets on the books of Bank of America. And they're ready to collapse over this. So what they've tried to do is this Ponzi scheme, intentionally, of continuing their gain as long as they could, hoping that they could work themselves out of it by 2016, out of the financial bind that they're in, that, they've collapsed the entire economies of the world. They've taken over the economies, but they're in trouble right now. And Preston, would you like to add to that? I mean, you've done some masterpieces.
I think my point is, I think you're the first person to really expose that there is a connection between the corruption in our visible world with this esoteric satanic kingdom. You're the first person to ever exposed it. See, I always had trouble understanding why, how can Congress be so easily corrupted? How can people be blackmailed? Why do we have 30 to 40% of the people in Congress? Why are they known pedophiles? Why do we have people going to Congress and being re-socialized and turning into monsters? Why do we have all these wars where the United States, the greatest country in the world, has been completely gangsterized, turned into a world gangster, goes around murdering innocent people, blowing them up with cruise missiles and doing all these terrible things, fighting Israel's war? How could we ever get to this place? And I could never explain it until I learned about the esoteric side of it. But I think you were the first one that ever really exposed this connection. People had talked about it, but see, you lived it, Stu, and you're the only one I know that survived.
Well, Preston, we're coming to break now, so we'll continue on this after the break. And I told Stu before, what occurs to me is that he's had his house burned down, ladies and gentlemen, and so many other things. Have tried to kill him a number of times. And what he embodies is simply the triumph of the human spirit over evil, right, basically. We'll be right back after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com. Don't you go anywhere.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinnie Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinnie is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinnie supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnieeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
I thought it would be wise to bring him on. You admit.
Okay, let's get that sorted. Where's my conference room? There it is. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. I was kind of in a bit of a rush this morning.
Well, you find him. I'm going to get a little bit more light in here.
There we go. And he's unmuted. Okay, Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right. What was your name again?
Yes, Preston James.
Preston James. All right. And how did you find out about the Illuminati?
Oh, I suppose it goes back many years ago to...
We have a Dr. Preston James also that's a columnist for Veterans Today.
Okie
And
dokie.
an expert, a psychologist and an expert on the Illuminati as well. And he's done a massive series of stories on Veterans Today, so I thought we'd bring him on for the first hour. He's happy to be on with us for at least an hour today.
Okay. Is he on phone or on Skype?
He's on phone there on the 952 exchange. Do you see it?
Oh, so he's already called into the call-in line, is he?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's just see if I can get that caller line up here.
He's an expert in this as well, and since we're going to be talking about the Illuminati...
Of the Bush crime family and the very nasty, incredibly satanic, cruel, and, practically alien to all humankind, Illuminati. Stu, welcome to the program. Stu, are you there? I can't hear you. You must have your mic muted or something.
I apologize, I did have. Benny, I want to thank you for having me. It's my honor to be on with you. And I did bring a co-guest with me. If you check your number, a 952 extension there.
Oh, okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live on AmericanFreedomRadio.com 5 days a week. That's Monday through Friday in the United States from 3 till 5 Pacific, 5 till 7 Central, 6 till 8 Eastern, and across the Atlantic is 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and in New Zealand 10 a.m. through midday. There's a lot of time zones I've got to keep in my head in order to do this show, isn't it? Yeah, and of course at the end of this month, when daylight savings kicks in for, I think it'll either kick in for New Zealand first, I think, we'll be going to 11 a.m. till 1 p.m, and then daylight savings kicks in again for the United States on November the 4th, and then it will be midday till 2 p.m, which will be good, because I'll be able to stay up late editing, catching up on huge quantities of scumbaggery that I need to expose, but I haven't been able to because I have to get up earlier enough to do the show. All right, now, today, we have a very special show for you and a very special guest. His name's Stu Webb, a victim, but also a fighter